We're talking with the Boulder Comet head coach, and he said they played over 40 games so far this year. So it's kind of come down to this.
Okay, we've got the ball game about ready to get underway here. We will have the Fort Collins Buckaroos. They will be batting first, and we will set defensively the Boulder Valley Comets as they are out in the field right now. Pitching out on the mound, it will be Debbie Coleman. Catching behind the plate, it will be Lori Christensen. The first baseman for the Boulder Valley Comets, Jenny Sutton. Second baseman is Carrie Miller. At third base, it'll be Jenny Peterson. At shortstop, they've got Jana Krutzinger. Out in left field, it will be Ginger Hall. In center field, it will be Laura Levine. And then, of course, it will be Heather Granger, who will be in right field. And to set you for the Fort Collins Buckaroos, they will start the top half of the first inning. The first batter up will be the second baseman. That is Jill Varenhold, and we're ready to go. First pitch on the way, and in there for a swing and a miss, strike one. On the mound again, Debbie Coleman for the Boulder Valley Comets.
For the game, Doug, these pitchers warming up, and they don't miss very much. They don't walk very many people.
That ball is high and a little bit outside. The count even now at 1-1. You know, with 12 and under, and you see these girls throw, you can tell, and if you've never really seen it come out to see these girls play softball, I think you will be in for a very pleasant surprise. That is a call, strike two and a corner. So for Jill Varenhold, she is now at 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And light drizzle coming on down.
Had a little high and outside 2-2. You know, it was nice when we got here at about 12:30, and
then you walked in,
and then I came, and of course now the rain is on, so we see some umbrellas up in the crowd for this ball game this afternoon. There's a foul ball down the first baseline.
Swung a bit late on that one, Doug. Fastball outside. She just got a piece of it. We got as far as the umpires for today's game, behind home plate, Myron Bird, and on the bases it will be John Zimbluskas.
So Coleman with the delivery and a call, strike three. So Jill Varenhold for the Fort Collins Buckaroos goes down looking. So it's a strikeout for Debbie Coleman, and that will bring up Lori Payon. She is the center fielder, wearing number 12 for the Fort Collins Buckaroos. Again, we tell you these are the midgets. They are 12 and under.
Doug, looks like Varenwold's hitting the outside corner pretty well. That one just missed for ball one, but she looks like she's got the outside part of the plate on. Right-handed hitters pretty much down pat so far.
That pitch outside, so we've got a 2-ball count right now on the batter, who is Lori Payon. We'll go over the head coaches. There's a ball hit fair to the third baseman. Throw to first in the dirt, and it won't be in time, and there we'll go. Lori Payon to second. They are waving her to third, and now she takes off. She'll be on her way to third, and the throw cut off by the pitcher, Debbie Coleman. So that will put Lori Payon on third base with a 3-base error, basically what it turns out to be. It's she gets on by error and then a 2-base throwing error.
Pretty hard hit ground ball to Peterson, and she just bounced the throw to first, and she's playing in on third, looking for a bunt here. And
Jenny Sutton, the first baseman, tried to scoop it out. Frank just couldn't quite do it.
The shortstop over there, Krutzinger, crept behind the runner, trying to take the throw from the catcher there, trying to pick her off third.
This is Misha Stevenson, third baseman for the Fort Collins Buckaroos. They try a throw down to the third baseman. Jenny Peterson trying to keep him honest, as at third is Lori Payon. Pitch is in the dirt, and Lori Payon will try to score, and she will do it easily standing up. So the Fort Collins Buckaroos take advantage of an error by the Boulder Comets, and then a wild pitch, and they score the first run of the ball game.
And if you're the Boulder Comets starting to rain a little bit more heavily now, Doug, you don't want to give up a run like that. Easy out at first base, runner goes to third, and wild pitch scores the run.
And there is a strike call, so it's a 2-ball, 1-strike call on Misha Stevenson. Now nobody on the bases for Fort Collins Buckaroos, and I was 1 pitch behind her. That is ball 4 for Misha Stevenson, so she will draw the walk. And Fort Collins Buckaroos again have a runner on base, and that will bring up the batter now, Tara McGilligan. She is the shortstop, wearing number 16 for the Buckaroos. Debbie Coleman on the mound for the Comets. Pitches high, fake the throw down the first baseline. Catching for the Boulder Valley Comets this afternoon is Lai Christensen. That pitch is up and away for ball 2.
She's had trouble finding the plate since that wild pitch. I think might be good if she just kind of steps away here and gets a breath.
That pitch is a ball again hit to the third baseman. Her only play is to first, and it's in time. As now they say she pulled her foot. Jenny Peterson making the throw to Jenny Sutton. Sutton pulled her foot, and they're going to say that Tara McGilligan is safe So it's an infield hit, really, for Tara McGilligan, and that'll send Misha Stevenson to second base.
That one's certainly not Peterson's fault. She threw it to first, and first baseman just pulled her foot off the bag.
This will bring up the catcher, Tiff McRae, for the Fort Collins Buckaroos, and she immediately squares to bunt. Now swings away, and the third baseman, Jenny Sutton, getting a lot of action this time, puts it on the money. And that will be in time for the out. So 5-3 if you're scoring it. And that is out number 2. And that'll bring up Lisa Dean, Rick Dean, Jerry Brummett, the coaches for the Fort Collins Buckaroos. And for the Boulder Valley Comets, it is Ed Wolf, who is their head coach, and they've got a lot of other people that help. And now a little bit of a conversation with Lisa Dean and the third base coach.
And that ground up moved the runners to second and third, and Comets certainly want to get this out and try and get away with only one run against them, because the single most likely to bring in 2.
There's the throw. It's on the corner, and now they try a little play at third base where they run the shortstop behind the runner. Runners at second and third for the Fort Collins Buckaroos. Lisa Dean, the batter. There, it's a little bloop, and it's going to be cut by the second baseman, who is Kerry Miller. That is the third out, and that will retire the side. So in the first inning, though, they come up with 1 run on 1 hit, and there were 2 errors and 2 men left on, or 2 women, I should say, left on base. And so after a half an inning of play, it is the Fort Collins Buckaroos 1 and the Boulder Valley Comets coming to bat. We'll set the batting order for the Comets, as it'll be Lai Christensen, Jenny Peterson, and Ginger Hall to start off the inning for the Boulder Valley Comets. For the Buckaroos out in the field, pitching will be Lori Neiswinder. The catcher will be number 14. That's Tiff McRae. The first baseman, Lisa Dean, wearing number 9. The second baseman is Jill Varenwald. Third base today for the Buckaroos, it'll be Misha Stevenson. At shortstop, Tara McGilligan. In left field, it will be Mara Sullivan. In center for the Buckaroos, it'll be Laurie Peon. And in right field, Lynn Heinrich for the Buckaroos this afternoon. So they take a quick lead by a score of 1-0. We'll tell you that these are the midgets, 12 and under, and the first of 3 championship ball games we'll have on Channel 14.
Big afternoon, and it certainly is nice to see the rain let up here.
I guess our umbrella is down and everything is right with the world right now.
I did.
Lai Christensen, the batter, and she is the catcher. She got quite a bit of action there in that first half of the inning. It looked like possibly that the Boulder Valley Comets a little bit shaky out there. This is the championship game, so they look like maybe a little tentative, and a couple errors and a wild pitch put the Buckaroos on the board.
A little bit of nerves, especially on the part of Jenny Peterson, but she's up second this game, and she doesn't bat second for nothing, so I'm sure she's going to try and make amends for that one error that she had. But that'll happen. Big game like that, that kind of stuff happens.
So Lai Christensen's getting some information from head coach, who is Ed Wolf, down the third baseline for the Boulder Valley Comets, and we're ready to go. First pitch on the way. It's high for ball 1. Lori Neiswinder, the big lefty, on the mound for the Buckaroos. She's ready to delivery, and it's looks like it's going to fall in there. Base hit into right center field, and the Buckaroos pick it up right away, and that is Lori Peon getting the ball back in. And so Lai Christensen begins the bottom half of the first inning with a base hit.
They had Christensen played to pull him. She still blooped it in there. The Peon had her shaded a bit to right field. She came in on the ball, just couldn't grab it. Clean single.
This will bring up Jenny Peterson. The delivery by Neiswinder is a little high. Catcher for the Buckaroos, Tiff McRae, and she looks like she's ready to gun it down to first if Lai Christensen gets off the bag a little too far. Neiswinder with the delivery. It's a little high.
Like the way Peterson strides into every pitch.
We do have the home plate umpire, Mike, this afternoon, Frank, so what we'll do is occasionally see what they are talking about and, of course, let them make a few calls. That ball is low and away, and again, the fake throw down to first base. Neiswinder having a little trouble here for the Buckaroos, trying to get it in the strike zone. The batter is Jenny Peterson. She's the third baseman for the Boulder Valley Comets. Pitch right down the middle for strike 1. So it should mean a count of 3 balls, 1 strike on Jenny Peterson.
I think Ed Wolf told her to not swing on that pitch. Just make Neiswinder bring that one on in.
And there's a swing to miss foul balls. So now the count is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Christensen at first. Obviously, in softball, the runners on base cannot leave until the ball is released from the pitcher's hands. So you still can see some stealing. That ball is high and away, so ball 4. So the first 2 batters for the Boulder Valley Comets are on base, and that's going to bring up Ginger Hall, the left fielder, batting number 3. And look at what a strike zone. on little Ginger Hall. When we get a picture of this, she is a left-handed batter, and Nieswinder will have the work cut out. That ball is in the dirt. Nobody is going to advance. And again, nice play by the catcher who came up immediately. That's Tiff McRae behind the plate. She did a good job. Ball one on Ginger Hall.
Left-hander on left-hander, and she's a short one.
That ball's going to get away from McRae, so the runners will move up 90 feet. And I guess really you should say here almost it's really 60 feet. So to put the runners at second and third, there is nobody out. This is just the bottom half of the first inning. And the Buckaroos lead at 1-0, but Lori Nieswinder a little bit of trouble right here with runners at second and third, nobody out. And now Ginger Hall has switched around to the right-handed side of the plate. And she's got a 3-ball count on her. 3 balls, no strikes on the batter, Ginger Hall, the left fielder, for the Boulder Valley Comets. This is the championship game. Pitch is in there, strike one. 3 balls and 1 strike. You got to give Nieswinder a lot of credit, Frank, because that is not an easy strike zone to hit there.
It isn't, and not very often do you see somebody switch from the left side to the right side of the plate with the same pitcher in there on the same at-bat.
And that pitch is low and inside. It will be ball 4. So the second consecutive walk, and Jerry Brummett, coach for the Fort Collins Buckaroos, is going to come in and have a little chat with Tiff McRae. And now they're going to talk a little bit with the umpire, too. Let's see if we can pick up some of the conversation.
Yeah, 35. Bring that out here, let's see.
There's going to be a little bit of conversation now going on.
Are you pitching 40 feet?
That's what we're wondering, yeah.
They're not sure, Frank, is that the rubber's in the right place here now. Now they want to know if they're pitching 40 feet. And so Jerry Brummett came out immediately.
Well, he
One of the
might
coaches.
have a point.
They're checking it right now.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
Now they bring the tape measure out. We'll make it official.
And I think it's a first down, Doug. I think they got it by an inch.
The tape measure is down. Let's see if Jerry...
Almost 41 feet.
Well, they say 41. You can hear the conversation.
What's it supposed to be?
35.
And the rubber, by golly, is in the wrong place. It's supposed to be at 35 for the midgets, and it's at 40.
Almost
so they're
41.
Almost 41, so they're going to move it up. I don't know what this does now, or if there's a legitimate protest, you know, that could be made, because, of course, the Boulder Valley Comets, Frank, went through their first half of the inning pitching from 40 feet.
I'm not sure there is a lot they can do, Doug, because what's been played has already been played. Maybe our broadcast table is too close to home plate. Maybe we should move ours back.
We'll have to wait and see here, as I don't know if there's really anything that can be done. The Buckaroos did score 1 run, and if this ended up to be 1-0, I wonder if possibly the Boulder Valley Comets would have a legitimate protest. We'll have to wait and see exactly what is going to happen. We'll be able to talk maybe and get an update from Jerry Brummett inside. But really, the Buckaroos have got the advantage, though. They had the 1 run, and now their pitcher is going to start pitching from 35 feet. So the Buckaroos wouldn't have a gripe here. It would be the Boulder Valley Comets if indeed they'd want to exercise that.
I think, excuse me, Doug, I think Brummett did have Jerry had a legitimate shot that Nieswinder was not pitching very well.
What they're going to do here, let's wait and see. Ed Wolf now is bringing in I wonder if there could it be we're going to start the inning over? I can't believe it.
This close to it. Get on the base. I'll be holding back.
They're chatting right now, and no, all runners will go back to prospective bases. So nothing will change except for now. Lori Nieswinder will be throwing from 35 feet where she should be.
And we've got the bases loaded in case you just joined us. And Buckaroos are up by 1, but they're in trouble here.
See how much of a difference now. 5, we're really almost 6 feet makes for Lori Nieswinder as Ed Wolf, the head coach for the Boulder Valley Comets, goes through a set of signs down the third baseline. The batter is going to be Debbie Coleman, the number 4 hitter. And swing and a miss on a high pitch that was way overhead. And it's strike 1.
She's got the bases loaded, nobody out, and she's anxious to hit the ball. She just kind of swung at a bad pitch there.
Bases full of Comets. With the 0-1 count, that pitch is high, and it evens it at 1-1. Tiff McRae looking down the third baseline. Lai Christensen kind of daring her to throw it. No throw is made, and the count at 1-1.
Doug, there's a big hole between actual second base and where the Buckaroo shortstop is playing. And I think that's where Coleman is looking at to punch one up the middle.
Debbie Coleman, the pitcher for the Comets, and that ball gets away from Tiff McRae, but she recovers it very nicely. But it's 2 balls, 1 strike on the batter, Debbie Hall. Kerry Miller is on deck, and Jana Krutzinger in the hole for the Boulder Valley Comets. This is the championship game for the midgets. We're in the bottom half of the first inning. Swing and a miss, strike 2, evens the count at 2-2 now. So Lori Neiswinder looks like her delivery and everything appears to be moving much smoother now.
It does. She didn't really have a natural windup from there. I'm sure that's what Jerry Brummett had in mind when he trotted out to the mound there.
Well, you know, you got to give Jerry Brummett a lot of credit for a lot of, obviously, the Boulder Valley Comet head coach did not pick that up, and Jerry Brummett knew right away that rubber was not in the right place.
He may ask on the pine tar issue next. I'm not sure.
Tiff McRae's got the catcher for the Buckaroos has an equipment problem. She's getting some help there from the home plate umpire. See if they can get that straightened out. If you look at the corners for the Buckaroos, they're playing way in. Of course, with a runner at third, they're trying to cut that run off at home. And now the Buckaroos will have a little bit of conversation at home plate. And I'm sure that conversation is going on that, remember, the play is going to be at home. And then if there's a chance for a double play, then we go back up to first base. See what happens. Debbie Coleman with a 2-2 count. Delivery from Neiswinder is in the dirt, gets away from McRae. Here comes Christensen, and she will score standing up. So another wild pitch now will give the Boulder Valley Comets a run.
That ties up the ball game at 1 apiece, and that takes away a lot of defensive strategy for the Buckaroos. Like you said, Doug, they could have went home or could have went for 2 to give up the run, but now first base is empty.
Second and third for the Comets, and a full count on Coleman, and she lifts a fly ball to left field, and is caught. Tagging, though, is Peterson, and she will score standing up. And now the ball gets away from the catcher, and here comes little Ginger Hall, and she bluffed like she was going to try to score and then turned around and did not do it. The throw came in from Mara Sullivan a little bit off the mark. So it's a sacrifice fly and an RBI.
Ginger Hall kept everybody's eyes open. She never stopped coming around third, and it was actually the first base umpire that held her up for the Comets by screaming no. And she'd have been out.
Neiswinder now with the delivery to Kerry Miller to the third baseman, and it's booted down the third baseline. Tough chance for Mrs. Stevenson. And that will score Ginger Hall. So really all the runs scored on errors. That is an error on the third baseman, but an RBI. And really not an RBI if you're talking in the official scorebook, but a run scored. And now it's 3-1. Boulder Valley Comets brings up Krutzinger, and the pitch is high. And bluffing Kerry Miller at first base. She blessed the steal. Now Jerry Brummett again will make and call a timeout here, and he might be willing to make a pitching change right away, and
I think
he will.
He's going to.
Yes. And it appears the shortstop is going to come in and throw. That would be Tara McGilligan. And we'll check it for you. I believe it's number 16 out there. And Lori Neiswinder will move out to left field.
We got McGilligan at pitcher, as you said. Neiswinder, who's just left the game, as the pitcher to left field. And a couple other defensive adjustments out there.
So it appears that maybe the left fielder then came in to play shortstop. We'll get that all squared away. So if that is the case, and Mara Sullivan now is playing at shortstop, Lori Neiswinder will go out to left field, and the pitcher on the mound right now is Tara McGilligan. And she'll get the warm-up tosses as she will be throwing to Jana Krutzinger with 1 out only, as I have it, Frank, in my scorebook. 1 out only on the fly out to left field on the sacrifice fly. So 1 out in the ball game. We'll get the official change right now. And Krutzinger is the batter with a 1-ball count, and we're ready to go. And we'll make sure that my changes were correct. Is that how it's going to be? As a swing and a foul ball.
We've got Payon going from center to short. McGilligan from short to pitcher. Neiswinder from pitcher to left field. The left fielder Sullivan is going to move over to center to take Payon's spot.
Okay, I didn't see Lori Payon come in, so that was the only mistake that I made. There is the pitch. It's high, and that'll be 2 balls, 1 strike now on Jana Krutzinger.
Doug, I think the thinking of Jerry Brummett is not to let this game slip away too early. It's the championship here, and he's going to bring in the pitcher who's hot for him.
Here goes the throw. Is going down to second base is Kerry Miller, and it's not going to be in time. So Kerry Miller will get the stolen base as she advances to second now in the 3-1 count on Krutzinger. So right now, McGilligan for the Buckaroos having a little trouble on the mound. There's the ball hit and caught by the second baseman in a double play as she catches Kelly Miller off the base. So heads up play by second baseman Jill Varenwald. She caught the ball and moved to second base. It's an unassisted double play to the second baseman Jill Varenwald, and that will end the first inning. So the score at the end of 1 is right now the Boulder Valley Comets 3 and the Fort Collins Buckaroos 1.
Doug, that was a fortunate play. Krutzinger really got some wood on the ball. Great play.
And a real heads-up play by the second baseman who turned it into a quick double play. So, as we mentioned, at the end of 1 inning to play, the score 3-1 with the Boulder Valley Comets on top of the Fort Collins Buckaroos. This is the championship softball game. So, Frank, the winner of this will go to state. So, very important. You're right. I think that's why Jerry Brummett decided to make a pitching change as quick as he did. And it turned out really to pay off for him.
It's kind of interesting to watch Debbie Coleman now for the Comets warm up, and she's having a little trouble finding the plate. She was pitching from that 40 or 41-foot rubber. Now that got moved in while the Buckaroos were out on the field that last half inning, she's having a little trouble, so it'll be interesting to see how she comes out here.
And both teams having their trouble in the field, Frank, as errors and wild pitches really set up the whole scoring for the Boulder Valley Comets. And of course the Buckaroos scored on they got a person on by an error, and then got them all the way to third, then a wild pitch allowed them to score. So that's what's happened so far through 1 inning of play here at City Park South. Nice to have you with us here on Channel 14, Columbine Cablevision. As we're trying to get underway, first hitter for the Buckaroos, it'll be Mara Sullivan. And she'll take a swing and a miss for strike 1. Lori Neiswinder on deck and Lynn Heinrich.
Coleman came in with a high fastball, really blew it by her.
And that pitch is in there for strike 2. So already Coleman on top of Mara Sullivan, 0-2. And that pitch a little inside, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
No wind here at this time, Doug. We had a little bit of a breeze and some light rain as the game started, but things starting to clear up now.
Matter of fact, things are kind of muggy. There's a strike 3 call on Mara Sullivan, so that is the first out of the second inning. Brings up Lori Neiswinder. Of course, Lori, the left-hander, got into pitching trouble and was removed by Jerry Brummett. She's playing left field now. Coleman with the pitch in the dirt, ball 1.
Sometimes, Doug, with a girl that tall at this age, have her choke up on the bat and really have bat control rather than going for the power, and I think that's what they've got Neiswinder out there for.
Lori's 12 years old. Swing and a miss. And the count even at 1-1. It's turned out to be kind of a muggy day out here with a little bit of rain that we had, and now the heat coming back in. 2 balls, 1 strike. With Lynn Heinrich on deck. And there's a swing and a miss, so that'll even the count up in 2-2. Debbie Coleman looking pretty sharp here in the second inning. This is quite the rivalry with the Buckaroos and the Comets. And that pitch outside to make the count now full at 3-2.
Kind of interesting, the Comets have their left fielder and the right fielder playing the line, giving up some big gaps. I think they're either betting that Neiswinder is really going to come around on one or swing very late.
Full count. And swing and a miss by Lori Neiswinder, and that's strikeout number 2 here in the inning. And, of course, Jill Varenwald struck out in the first inning, so 3 Ks already for Debbie Coleman. That brings up the number 9 hitter and the right fielder, who is Lynn Heinrich. It's always interesting, Frank, to see these girls get up there with that tiny, tiny strike zone. You got to give these girls, the pitchers, a lot of credit to bring that ball in.
You do, and she doesn't choke up on the bat. She's kind of get the impression she can come around with that bat.
And you can tell by the snap in the glove for the in Lai Christensen that Debbie Coleman's putting a little heat on that ball. That is low and in the dirt. So she's having trouble with the strike zone on Lynn Heinrich. That's 3 balls, no strikes. I would imagine that Lynn will be taking here. Buckaroos down 3-1. And there's a call, strike 1. So let's see if Lynn Heinrich has the green light. 3 balls, 1 strike. We're in the top half of the second inning, and that's inside, ball 4. So Lynn Heinrich on first with the base on balls, and Jill Varenwald, who struck out in the first inning, now will get another shot here.
And on deck, Lori Payon, and she's just got the only run for the Buckaroos, so I'm sure they're going to try and get her up here and keep this inning going.
I don't remember Jill Varenwald, a switch hitter, but she's going to be batting left-handed this time up. Coleman with the pitch, and it's low and away for ball one.
Really do see that more and more these days in softball, starting the kids at a younger age switch hitting both sides of the plate. I think that's great.
And that ball is going to be in the dirt, and that will allow Lynn Heinrich to go down to second base. Christensen couldn't quite handle it. So that will put Lynn Heinrich at second base now. There are 2 out in the inning on 2 strikeouts by Debbie Coleman for the Boulder Valley Comets. And there's a called strike and the bluff by Heinrich to go down to third, but the Boulder Valley Comets right there, just in case you did try to attempt that. Coleman with the pitch. There's a ground ball right back to Coleman. Her throw to first in time. So that will retire the Buckaroos on the play from Coleman to Jenny Sutton. So it's really, there's one walk in that inning, but basically a good inning for Debbie Coleman, and that will now put us through an inning and a half with the score. The Boulder Valley Comets 3 and the Fort Collins Buckaroos 1, and the Boulder Valley Comets again had a very good first half of their inning, and it now is going to bring up the bottom part of their order, who is going to be Laura Levine, Jenny Sutton, and Heather Granger, I believe. And if that is right, Frank, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay.
Sutton at first base took that throw for the third out. She thought there were only 2, so she kind of ran into the infield trying to check the base runner, but everybody else was on the bench.
Let's remind everybody, this is the championship game for the midgets. These girls are 12 and under. And out on the mound, we've already had a pitching change by the Buckaroos, so Tara McGilligan is out on the mound for the Buckaroos. Laura Levine coming up to bat. She's a center fielder for the Comets. They've been playing since Friday, so you know these girls not only during the season. You were mentioning 40 games. They've had enough games probably here in 3 days.
Boulder coming into this game, according to their head coach, Ed Wolf, 34-8. By the way, some of the names of their assistant coaches, Dwayne Coleman, Mike Sutton, Denny Peterson, and Jean Padrubin. And it kind of takes that many people for 42 games, I'm sure, to get that cooperation.
Look at the Buckaroos, and we'll go through some of the people that are helping over there. Not only Jerry Brummett and Rick Dean, but Dr. Belke and a lot of people over there helping out. Swing and a miss. And a strike call on Laura Levine. Tara McGilligan on the mound for the Buckaroos. And there is a swing and a miss. And that will even the count up now at 2-2. And McGilligan starting to find the zone pretty consistently now for the Buckaroos.
She is kind of a middle reliever for this game, and they may call that an early reliever.
And that just a tad bit outside. That got a little call from the fans, predominantly Buckaroo fans here.
That was close.
Full count. And that ball is high and away, so Levine will draw the walk. And that again, the Boulder Valley Comets have been able to get the first batter on base.
Okay, McGilligan let go of that ball too late. I think she knew as soon as she let it go that it was way out of the strike zone.
Jenny Sutton now, the first baseman for the Comets, will take strike one, and there's the bluff to go to second by Levine. And Tiff McRae, who is the catcher for the Buckaroos, not afraid to throw that ball. We've seen her do it already early in this ball game. And there's a smash back to the second baseman. That's Varenwald. She couldn't make the play to second, but she does make the play to first in time. And that was really kind of slow developing, but it really worked out well for Varenwald as she got it over to Lisa Dean, so there is one out, and now the umpire is having a little conversation. Let's pick it up.
And what's on the delivery?
Okay, I had missed.
Okay, watch her.
Okay.
We're talking about, and you watch the way the delivery comes from, now they're going to talk a little bit more, but
That's Varenwald out there. I think she jammed her hand.
well, they're looking at it right now. Jerry Brummett is out there, but I think the original conversation by the umpires, Frank, was on the delivery that is being used by McGilligan. If you watch it, she double pumps her arm, and they had some conversation about that. Jill Varenwald she's going to come out of the ball game. She really took
That was a hard hit ground ball.
well, the way she threw it, I knew that something was wrong because she does a much better job than that. They're still checking it out right now.
And I'll tell you what, very fortunate for the Buckaroos who hit that ball. Sutton, who plays first base, has a little guard around her shin. I'm sure she probably got hit there a couple of times, and she was very slow to first base, and they just did get her.
Yeah. And Jill Varenwald will come out of the ball game, and Frank will have to pick up who exactly will take her place. Now they're going to make some changes, and it appears that Mara Sullivan will come in to play second base, and going out it was Sonia Trujillo to center field. So we'll make those changes right now, as Trujillo will be in the place of Jill Varenwald, and of course Mara Sullivan now will come in and play second base. So let's, again, Buckaroo's making some changes here, and we'll have to get them correct.
Looks like a road map
in our scorebook here. And there's the ball high, as the batter is now Heather Granger, and she will take ball one. And I was going to check and see the delivery here by McGilligan to see if anything is said by the umpires, or see if she goes straight windup. Now she is. She's going to straight windup. And a bunt laid down. Nice one. The play is going to be to first base, and it's in time. And now they had the runner off third, but they didn't make the throw. And, of course, coming over there to make that fine play was Mara Sullivan, who just came in from center field, Frank, so you got to give her a lot of credit. She was right there to take the throw.
She did, and she almost could have had the Comet runner off third base. I think it was wise, though, to run her back to the base instead of trying to make a wild throw.
And Laura Levine did go to third base, so now that'll bring up the top of the order for the Comets. This is Lai Christensen. Runner at third. There are two down, as the Buckaroos trying to get themselves out of another jam right here. That ball is high. So it's no strikes, 2 balls will be the call on Lai Christensen.
You're right, Doug. McGilligan sometimes swings both arms back.
And there's a hit to Mara Sullivan, and she bobbles it momentarily. The throw is not going to be in time. So Levine will score. But for Mara Sullivan, that's a lot of action to have, just coming in from center field to second base. But she almost made the play anyway, but a run does score. And it makes it now 4-1, Boulder Valley on top. And Jenny Peterson, the batter.
I'd almost give a hit on that, because that was a high hopper. That was a tough play.
It was a tough play. And again, it's hit to Mara Sullivan. This time she handles it cleanly, tosses it over to the first baseman, who makes the play, and that will bring up the third out of the inning. But not before the Boulder Valley Comets came up with 1 run. There were no hits, and there were 2 errors, and nobody left on base. So now, after 2 complete innings of play, it is the Boulder Valley Comets 4 and the Fort Collins Buckaroo 1. And we'll come back with more of championship softball with the Buckaroos and the Comets right after this.
Did you hear what happened to Sue Ellen today?
Honey!
Yeah.
I'm gonna go plant the rose bush now.
Finally. Did you call one call?
It's only a rose bush.
Oh, George is home today. Hello, Marge? Hello, Marge?
Before you dig in your yard for any reason, contact One Call. One Call will schedule appointments to locate all of your utilities free of charge. Remember, cut cables cost you money and could be dangerous. So call 484-0300. One Call does it all.
You're good people, and you love your dog. That's why you fenced your yard, to keep him safe and at home. And he knows his boundaries. At least, you thought he did. When he wasn't back, you started calling. No one had seen him. No one knew where he was. When they found him, he was tired and hungry, lost, alone, and scared. But you're good people, and you love your dog. You gave him a voice and a way back home. Licensing is the law, and it makes good sense. A message from the Humane Society for Larimer County and this television station.
Fort Collins Buckaroos are up to bat now in the form of Lori Peone, and of course Lori in that first inning was able to get on base by the error by the third baseman. Ball is high, and she's got a 1-1 count on her. Lori Peone has scored the only run in the ball game for the Fort Collins Buckaroos.
And that came on a wild pitch, so Buckaroo's trying to get some offense going here.
Foul ball and almost a souvenir for Frank. Again, it's E-Sportscaster, I guess.
E11.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Lori Peone, who has moved in to play shortstop for the Buckaroos, and that's low. Even the count now at 2-2.
She's not a big target either. Sometimes the pitchers have a tendency to bounce that one. That one bounced a good 4 feet in front of the plate.
What's impressive is the way Debbie Coleman is coming in for the Boulder Valley Comets. She's really putting some smoke on it, but that ball is inside, and it makes the count full. on Lori Payon. Misha Stevenson on deck and McGilligan in the hole. That ball is high, and so Lori Payon will draw the base on balls. And she's been on base both times this afternoon, and that'll bring up Misha Stevenson. She walked and was stranded at second base in that first inning. See if they put the bunt on, and they do. She turns and looks at it high, ball one.
And Peterson for the Comets way in on third base. As far as Sutton on the first base side, she's a little bit further back.
And that ball is high, ball two. You know, there's a lot of advantage, and you'll see the Buckaroos and even the Comets do it quite a bit to square, then turn back around and take a full swing.
And that's dangerous for the third baseman sometimes.
And the third baseman, look how far in she's playing. If we get a camera shot of that, and you can see it right now. Third baseman way, way down the line, as that is a called strike, 2 balls and 1 strike. And at first it is Lori Payon. Pitch is going to be called strike. Looked a little high and outside, but called strike by the home plate umpire, and it evens it up at 2-2.
There was some question on the part of the batter there, whether that was a strike or not, but count goes to 2-1.
And the square to bunt. She bunts it on a I had her at 2 strikes. And let's see if the umpire did too. Yes, so she fouled it off. It is registered as a strikeout in the book as she fouled the ball away on a 2-strike count. And that'll bring the first out of the inning. And that still has Lori Payon at first and Tara McGilligan, who now is the pitcher, who had a base hit in that first inning. Takes strike 1. There's a throw down to first and not in time as they're looking at Lori Payon. First baseman is Sutton for Boulder Valley and the Comets this afternoon. Debbie Coleman pitching a good ball game so far.
She is. She had a shaky start in the first, really come back to pitch real well.
That's low and away. Evens the count up at 1-1. McGilligan, the batter, McRae on deck, and Lisa Dean awaits in the dugout. And there's a swing and a miss for strike 2 on Tara McGilligan. You heard Jerry Brummett, one of the coaches for the Midgets, say we need a big inning this inning. Pitch by Coleman is called strike 3. And so another strikeout for Debbie Coleman, and unofficially now I register her with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strikeouts.
And she's getting the ball down a little bit more. She had a little bit of trouble with some high pitches toward the first inning, but she's really getting the ball down.
And she is throwing a one-hitter right now. There's a hit. It's going to get through and by the second baseman. So a nice hit for Tiff McRae, and that will send Lori Payon all the way to third. So I'm going to be a little liberal on that and give a base hit to Tiff McRae. That probably wouldn't make the Comet fans very happy, but I'm going to go ahead, or even make Debbie Coleman one of my best friends.
McRae, I'll tell you what, that was, I think, the best pitch that Coleman has thrown all afternoon, and she really got around on it.
So Lisa Dean is the batter with runners at first and third, 2 out for the Buckaroos, trying to rally here in the top half of the third inning. There goes the runner to second, and they'll make the throw, and it's not going to be in time as it gets away from the shortstop. So scoring is Lori Payon, and Lori Payon has scored both times for the Buckaroos. So that makes the score at 4-2, and Tiff McRae is safely at second base.
Sometimes that steal won't warrant the throw from the catcher because you've got the person on third, but that time a mistake, I think, by the Comets.
And called strike, and there goes McRae to third, and they'll tag her out at third. So McRae trying to take third base is not successful as she is thrown out from the catcher to the third baseman, and that will end the inning. So the score now, after 2.5 innings of play, it is the Boulder Valley Comets 4, the Fort Collins Buckaroos 2. And the Boulder Valley Comets now will be able to start off with their number 3, 4, and 5 hitter here in the third inning. And there's some more conversation going on, and I think that's friendly conversation out at the mound for the Fort Collins Buckaroos. And of course, that is Dr. Belke, I believe, out there, Russell Belke, who is having a little conversation. But the Buckaroos trying to rally back there, Frank. That was an opportunity maybe for them to pick up a couple runs. At least they came away with 1.
And that was a planned steal by McRae. That wasn't just something she did on her own. You could tell, but they had her out by a good foot or two.
So Ginger Hall, Debbie Coleman, and Kerry Miller will be the batters for the Boulder Valley Comets. And maybe a little bit later we can get the status of Jill Varenwald. Of course, she went out for the Buckaroos with a jammed finger or possibly a jammed hand out there. And she was in pain, but hopefully she'll be all right.
And it's taking a while for McGilligan to warm up because McRae, who just got thrown out trying to steal third, is the catcher, and it's going to take a while for her to get that equipment on.
So we have a little bit of break. The weather's kind of straightened up just for the time being anyway, but we still have some threatening clouds in the west here.
Gives the opportunity for Ed Wolf and his staff to go for their leadoff hitter for this inning, and one of our favorites, I think, so far, just because she's hustling all over the place.
Jerry Brummett is coming out, and I mean Jerry Brummett, the daughter of Jerry Brummett. The Jerry, of course, spells his name J-E-R-R-Y, and Jerry, his daughter, who is G-E-R-I, is going to come out. It looks like she's going to throw here. Jerry Brummett has come out onto the field, and they have sent McGilligan in, so Jerry Brummett now is going to be the pitcher for the Fort Collins Buckaroos. And, of course, she will bat in the place of Tara McGilligan. So Jerry Brummett add her to the lineup now as the pitcher for the Buckaroos, the second pitching
wait
change.
A minute. McGilligan's going in at catcher now.
That's exactly what's going to happen. So let's wait and see if McRae is coming out, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Let's move Jerry Brummett into McRae's batting position. And the pitcher will be Jerry Brummett, and the catcher now will be
McGilligan.
Tara McGilligan. I tell you what, I'm going to have a chat with Jerry Brummett. He does not make this easy on scorekeepers. I'm telling you right now. A lot of changes for the Buckaroos, but again, we remind you, this is the championship game, so there is no tomorrow. They've got to come away with a win, and they trail 4-2 through 2.5 innings of play. And that's going to make the delay even longer here, Frank, because now Jerry Brummett is allowed to warm up as she has not pitched before. And she'll have a chance to throw now to warm up.
And we're taking a look at her wind-up, and she's got pretty much of a McGilligan kind of a wind-up. Throws both those arms back, gets full motion, brings the arm 360, and puts the ball in. She can get some speed on it that way.
As we mentioned, Jerry Brummett, and we're talking about Jerry G-R-I. Of course, the lady out there throwing right now, her age, 8 years old, and throwing the ball like that. So Jerry Brummett.
I don't think even you could hit her, Doug.
I doubt it, and I think she obviously has a long career going for the Buckaroos here. So a little break in the action. This will bring up Ginger Hall. Now, she drew a walk in that first inning and then scored as the Boulder Valley Comets put up 3 runs in their bottom half of that first inning.
So Brummett's going to have a big task facing Hall, who's not very tall. And I didn't plan that. I didn't.
Jerry Brummett on the mound for the Fort Collins Buckaroos. Ginger Hall, the left fielder, takes call, strike one.
Nice pitch low on the outside corner. Beautiful pitch.
Jerry Brummett, of course, has had a lot of coaching in her pitching style, and you can tell it. She's ready to go. The bunt is fouled away, so that'll make the count now. No balls, 2 strikes.
That time she swung her arm forward, then reversed it. That can really take something out of the batter, I think, on concentration.
I was just checking, too, and we'll have to make a change that our first baseman now is Lori Neiswinder. And I think, Frank, you have all those changes. I'll just have to get him in the book. There's a hit by Ginger Hall to the first baseman. She can't make the play, and Jerry Brummett didn't get over in time to cover first. So Ginger Hall is on base with an infield hit, and that'll bring up Debbie Coleman, who is the number 4 hitter and the pitcher for the Boulder Valley Comets. So again, in each of the 3 innings, Frank, the Boulder Valley Comets have gotten their first batter on base.
I can certainly heard McGilligan now in a conference with Brummett out there at the pitcher's mound, and I think they're talking a little bit as how to pitch to Debbie Coleman, who's got the big strike zone and a big swing to match.
Jerry Brummett looking at Debbie Coleman. She's ready with the pitch, and it's low for ball 1. So we've got a new left fielder, Frank, and that's where we're going to have to pick that up. But because Trujillo's still out in center field, but Lori Neiswinder is in here at first base. And the fake bunt by Debbie Coleman, but it's a called strike.
And the sun really starting to come out. Now, I'll tell you what, Doug, Neiswinder is creeping in so far looking for that bunt that after the pitch is caught, it allows Hall on first to get a big running start there in case there's a wild pitch. He's in at second easily.
Now, Lori, I think maybe Lori Neiswinder heard you because she hustled back to first to make sure that Ginger Hall was not getting too far away from the bag. 2 balls, 1 strike. The count on Debbie Coleman. There's a swing, and she's got the ball into left field. It's a clean base hit. Ginger Hall looking to go to third. She will. Here comes the throw from the left fielder, and it is in time. So a good play by the left fielder who got it in quickly to the third baseman, Misha Stevenson. So it goes as 7-5 on Ginger Hall, and so they erased that lead runner, and Debbie Coleman all the way at second base with the base hit.
Doug, let's stick Michelle Dema in left field. She's the one that made that beautiful, beautiful throw to third. So now we get that cleared up. She comes in and makes a great play.
And Jerry Brummett ready with the pitch. It's low for ball one. The batter, Carrie Miller. And let's check it. Let's see here. Yes, it is Carrie Miller. I thought I may have missed a batter in the Comet lineup, but it is Carrie Miller at the plate. Carrie, the second baseman for the Boulder Valley Comets. And Jerry Brummett on the mound for the Buckaroos.
Coleman very intelligently took second on that throw to third, didn't stand around.
Brummett with the wind-up, and there's another sharp hit ball into center field. Let's see if Trujillo cannot come up with it. It gets by her, so Debbie Coleman will come in to score. Carrie Miller rounds second, going into third, and now they're waving her home. So here comes Carrie Miller coming all the way home and sliding in safe. So Carrie Miller really, as Sonia Trio tried to pick up the ball, she couldn't quite do it. And with that, it really allows Carrie Miller to round the bases. And 2 RBIs, and the Comets now with a commanding 6-2 lead.
Carrie Miller never stopped, and that was the key. It wasn't really even close to the place, even though she kicked up some dirt.
Good base coaching too, because the base coach has had her going all the way. There's another hit, gets by Jerry Brummett to the shortstop now. She has trouble with it, and it's not in time. So playing shortstop over there, and I'll have to check. I believe it's Lori Paone who is over there playing shortstop. Just really couldn't handle it well to get it to Lori Niswinder, so it's an infield hit. And this is a big inning for the Comets. There is only one out. That was the play at third base. And that brings up Laura Levine, and a swing and a miss, strike one.
Wasn't for that big throw by Dema into third base, they'd be in some real big trouble.
Already 2 runs in, and unofficially, and I will say that unofficially, I've got 4 base hits for the Comets in this inning. There's a swing and a miss, and the ball gets away, and down to second base will be Janet Krutzinger. And she looks to go to third, but they get the ball back quickly. They had a play on her, but they don't make the throw. So they wait for Jerry Brummett to get in the circle. That's when you can officially hold the runner then. The runner may not move once the ball gets back into the circle.
Sometimes it takes a time or two up in a big game like this to really get over your tension, and the Comets really starting to rip the ball pretty well now.
Brummett ready, and the pitch, and another ball hit into right center field. It's in there for a base hit, and again it gets by the outfielders of the Buckaroos. Here comes Levine. She rounds second, going into third, and they're going to hold her at third base. And now the throw gets by the catcher, and Levine wanted to score, but didn't get a chance to, but Krutzinger scores ahead of her, and the merry-go-round keeps going for the Buckaroos.
They are really starting to tag the ball well, and they're putting it exactly where the Buckaroos are not. That one to right center field, perfectly placed.
So 3 runs already in, and I've got only 1 out here in the bottom half of the third inning. And the score's 7-2. Brummett with the swing and a miss pitch to Jenny Sutton. Jenny, the third baseman, her last time up, grounded out to the second baseman.
Remember, that was that close play, Doug, that knocked the initial Buckaroo second baseman out of the ball game. She's got a bit of a taped up left ankle there. And that was Varenwald, the left second, that had to leave the game because she jammed her hand on that hard ground ball.
The pitch high and away for ball one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Runner at third is Laura Levine for the Boulder Valley Comets. Only 1 out. And the Buckaroos find themselves in a little bit of a situation right here. There's a hard hit ball, stopped and knocked down by Paone, but she can't make the play, and she's limping a little bit. She took that right in the ankle, and Laura Levine will have an opportunity to score, and it's another base hit. And Jenny Sutton hit the ball hard, and another run in. This is a big inning for the Comets, already 4 runs in, and with the runner at first, there is only 1 out, and now Lori Paone may be hurting, and Jerry Brummett's going to come out and take a look.
She did not even, as you said, Doug, did not make the throw to first. I think what was wise, because I think it was already a base hit, and she did take a pretty decent shot.
Well, that was a solid hit by Jenny Sutton. Matter of fact, I thought it was going to get through. Lori Paone made a great play just to keep it in the infield. And so right now, you can see Jerry Brummett out there. They're going to check out Lori Paone. This has not been a good afternoon for the Buckaroos. Joe Varenwald, as you were just mentioning, left the game, but I think Lori's going to stay in.
I'll tell you, though, Doug, with the lack of rain, I know they water the infields here and take great shape of this field, but with the weather we've been having, this infield is hard, and those bounces take some big hops.
Just like some men out there this afternoon. So everybody's ready. This will bring up Heather Granger for the Buckaroos, and she'll slap one to Lori Payon. Lori bobbles it for a moment and cannot make the play. So again, as we mentioned, it continues for the Boulder Valley Comets, as that is an error on Lori Payon, as she cannot make the play, and that's tough when you just take a hard shot, and before you really get a chance, Frank, to get your composure, here comes another shot.
It's been a tough inning for the Buckaroos. They could have been out of it with some minimal damage, and hopefully they can put the cork in it right now if you're a Buckaroo fan.
Jerry Brummett ready, ball inside and high to Lai Christensen, so we're back to the top of the order for the Boulder Valley Comets, and that's not good news for the Buckaroos, because Lai Christensen, she is 1 for 2 today, but she's reached base both times, and she smashes one back up through the middle. It gets away from Mara Sullivan. She makes the play. It's in time. Great play on Heather Granger by Mara Sullivan. It's a fielder's choice, and we'll mark that as it goes from 4 to 6, of course, from Sullivan to Payon. Good play, and it'll bring up the second out in the inning.
And Brummett was going to go and tag the base runner leaving the field on that force out. She thought she might be going to third. Drew some laughter.
Jenny Peterson is the batter now. There goes the runner down to second with the runner at third, of course, who is Jenny Sutton. There will be no throw down there. So 2 down in the inning, runners at second and third for the Boulder Valley Comets. Jerry Brummett on the mound, puts it in the dirt. Nice stop by the catcher, and I've got to check my notes just to make sure who that is. That is McGilligan behind the plate.
McGilligan's played a couple of positions. Kind of hard to step in and especially play catcher like that.
That is low for ball 2. Mr. Stevenson, the third baseman for the Comets, for the Buckaroos, hustles back to keep Jenny Sutton close to that bag. 2 balls, no strikes on the batter. No, I missed a couple pitches there because that's going to be a walk to Jenny Peterson. So now the bases are full of Comets.
And here's the lady that started it all.
This is the lady who did start it all, so we'll have to move our innings over here in the scorebook, as Ginger Hall earlier in this inning slapped a clean base hit, but then when she was trying to go from first to third, she was thrown out. Bases full of Comets. Sutton is at third, Christensen at second. Over at first base, that's Jenny Peterson. Pitch by Brummett is going to be to the third baseman, and the play is made. Not in time, though. And 2 runs are going to score, as some heads-up base running by Jenny Sutton and also by Lai Christensen, as she comes around to score also. So all of a sudden, it's a really big inning as Jenny Peterson goes to third. Ginger Hall is at first, or goes all the way down to second on the overthrow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 runs in this inning alone. It's 10-2, Boulder Valley on top.
They came in. The Buckaroos sliced that lead from 4-1 to 4-2, and we're looking pretty good. I'm sure they're a little disappointed with this inning.
This brings up the pitcher, Coleman, and it's a fair ball down the third baseline. Goes all the way to the fence. Coleman on the run, and the runners are scoring. And, of course, scoring is Ginger Hall, and at second base, Debbie Coleman with a clean double.
I'll tell you what, Doug, that ball hit the third base bag and took a funny hop. That's, as you said, it ended up on the fence down by the light pole down there, and it made it even tougher to round up.
Jenny Peterson scored, and also Ginger Hall scored on the double by Coleman, and now it makes it 12-2.
No way Stevenson could have pulled that one in at third. That was a hot one.
The batter is Carrie Miller for the Boulder Valley Comets, and for Jerry Brummett, she has faced a total of 11 batters here in this inning, bottom half of the third. She has faced 11. Really, Carrie Miller is number 12. Debbie Coleman will go to third on the wild pitch by Brummett. And now the runner is at third. There are 2 outs, though, in this inning.
And that wild pitch bounced over McGilligan's shoulder, and luckily it hit Myron Bird. The home plate umpire might have scored another Comet.
And there's a swing where the ball stay fair. No, goes foul. So 2 balls, 1 strike on Carrie Miller. Carrie had that hit to right center that got by Trujillo earlier in this inning, Frank. Seems like it's been a long time ago, and that was the home run that scored 2.
And good play by McGilligan to go run out and pick that ball up. As we know, if that goes back into fair territory offer, that's a fair ball. So she jumped on it and picked it up in a hurry.
Kicked it foul. Made it stay foul. Brummett now with the delivery. That ball just barely fouled down the first baseline by Carrie Miller, so it evens the count at 2-2. 2 down, but a big inning for the Boulder Valley Comets, as they have tallied 8 times here in the bottom half of the third, and they lead it 12-2.
I think it's safe to say they sprayed the ball around the entire infield. If that one would have stayed fair, we've seen right center, left field line, almost a right field line.
Unfortunately, they found every gap in the Buckaroos out there this inning. There's the pitch, and there's a hit, and it's up the middle. Base hit for Kerry Miller, rather, and again, it just continues as she bluffs going down to second. Sonia Trio comes up with the ball, gets it back into the infield, but again, another run in, and it's 13-2.
And just as that occurred, a very, very light sprinkle starting to pick up here. I don't think it's anything to worry about at this time, but
I'm glad you're in charge of the umbrella there. That pitch is high ball, but it gets away.
Is that a hint?
It gets away from the catcher, who is McGilligan. So down to second base goes Kerry Miller. I guess the only consolation in the inning right now for the Buckaroos is there are 2 outs, but a lot of times the old saying goes, it all happens with 2 outs, and unfortunately, they have scored a total of 4 runs with 2 outs. Jerry Brummett ready, and the ball is hit. It'll go foul down the third baseline. And the batter, Jenna Krutzinger, trying to keep this thing alive for the Boulder Valley Comets. And I believe even in the championship games, and I might be wrong, we probably should get a ruling on it. I'm not sure the 10-run rule is in effect in a championship game. There goes a hit to the shortstop, Lori Payon, and hit her in the hand, and it gets away from her. Now they're going to send the runner at third, who was Kerry Miller, and the throw went to third. So another run in, unfortunately, for the Buckaroos. They just really are having trouble. Lori Payon took that ball right in the bare hand. Jana Krutzinger is on really with the base hit, and now the score at 14-2.
On a range that pours, there's another infielder. Of course, that's Payon's second time. She really took a rip in the bare hand, and that's what put Varenwold on the bench after she took one at second base very early on in this game.
So again, Jerry Brummett, the coach of the Midgets, will go out and take a look at Lori. So with a little time out on the field right now with the injury, we'll take this time out and come back to more Buckaroo and Comet action after this.
You know your dog. You know he wouldn't get away. You know he wouldn't wander. That's why you don't bother getting him a tag. Oh, you know that you're supposed to, and you would if you didn't know him so well, but you know your dog. They don't know your dog. They don't know you or where you live. If only he had a tag, they could call you. They could bring him back. Give your dog a voice. It's the law, and it makes good sense. A message from the Humane Society for Larimer County and this television station.
Again, Lori Payon shows what kind of trooper she is. She'll stay in the ball game. So the batter now is Laura Levine, and she'll hit one right to Lori Payon, and she'll try to make the play to first, and it is in time to Nieswinder, and that is the third out of the inning. But the score in a big inning indeed for the Boulder Valley Comets. They come up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 runs in that inning, and it makes the score now 14-2. They had a total, Frank, and officially of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hits in that inning. So a big inning indeed, and the score at 14-2, and the Buckaroos have their work cut out for them.
And that rain starting to keep up a little bit. Hasn't really increased, but I don't think it's going to affect play. If anything, it's going to wet down that infield a little bit and perhaps take out some of those big hops as Debbie Coleman, her first warm-up pitch, sails way to the backstop. And
well, she hasn't been out there for a while.
She hasn't.
Frank. That was a long inning for the Boulder Valley Comets, so she's got to warm up again almost.
Yeah, she put a big smile on her face after that one.
So the 12 and under midgets, that's this championship ball game. Then we have another ball game, the juniors, and then the seniors. So we'll have all three championship games for you here on Channel 14. Nice to have you with us. I'm Doug Sanderson, and along with me this afternoon, nice to have Frank Lazinski from Kicks Radio. Frank, I know that you've got a lot of things coming up, too, that'll be happening on Kicks Radio, because for everybody who doesn't know, and they will know here pretty quick because it's quite the media event, the Denver Broncos get underway in Greeley.
It is, Doug. We've got a show each and every night throughout camp from 5:30 to 7 o'clock, live Bronco guests, and it's a lot of fun. And if you like the Broncos, it's a good program. And I think I'm going to put my umbrella up here.
Okay.
It is. It's a lot of fun. And if you like the Broncos and can't make it over to Greeley, it's a good way for us to go over there for you.
Let's see who they're going to send up to bat here. I believe we're going to have a pinch hitter, and because I had Lisa Dean coming up, and they're going to send Michelle Dema up. So Michelle Dema will be in, and they made so many changes, Frank, that maybe we just missed a change here, but Michelle Dema will be the batter, and that will be a call strike. Evens the count up in 1-1 on Michelle Dema. This is the top half of the 4th inning, and that is a call strike 2. So 1 ball and 2 strikes is the call on Michelle Dema. And that is low and in the dirt.
And Michelle's the one that made that big throw to cut Hall down at third base to start that inning. It looked pretty good for the Buckaroos, but the roof kind of caved in there.
On deck is Mara Sullivan for the Buckaroos. Pitch is low and away, so that should make the count full. Why Christensen lost it there for a minute. You know, the question has come up, and I guess we should have found this out. Maybe somebody in the truck can find out. I'm not sure that this is a 5-inning game or a 7-inning game. So if somebody up in the truck could find out for us, we'd appreciate that. I believe it is only a 5-inning game. But we'll get clarification as that ball is high and a walk to Michelle Dema.
And Coleman's come out and had a little trouble finding the strike zone. That'll happen after a big inning.
And it is a 7-inning game, Frank. That was quick. You gotta thank those guys up in the truck, our producer and everybody, doing a fabulous job here, keeping us honest. And that's tough for me.
It is.
That's a foul ball as Mara Sullivan squared to bunt the ball. And of course, they're just trying to get something going right now because when you're down 14-2, you just got to start to make things happen. Coleman ready, and there's a ball that's going to go into fair territory. Like Christensen picks it up. What a play, and over to first in time. But what a play as she got it up to Jenny Sutton by the catcher. Did she bounce or what? Nice play indeed.
That ball hit home plate, Doug, and you know when it hits home plate, it's got some funny spin on it, and it bounced straight up for her, and she gunned it to first. Nice play.
It looked like a routine play, and that's how it was handled by Lai Christensen, but that does move the runner, Michelle Dema, to second, and the turn and the square by Lori Neiswinder, and the ball's outside ball 1 as she pulled it back in time. I want you to look at this, Frank, on this on this umbrella here,
yes.
buddy. You're missing me here a little
Am I?
bit. We're getting some rain here, and you got the entire umbrella. Isn't that quite the deal? That ball is low and away, 2 balls and 1 strike.
I never make a good caddy.
Lori Neiswinder, she has been up only 1 time before, and in that time at bat, she struck out. Debbie Coleman's went all the way for the Comets, and that's a call strike. Comets have not went to the bench at all in this ball game.
They haven't. How's that?
Okay.
Now I'm getting wet.
Coleman ready, and Neiswinder tried to bunt it away, and she fouls it away. So that'll even the count up now at 2-2.
We had an earlier case here today, Doug, where one of the Buckaroos bunted foul with 2 strikes. Obviously, isn't out, and you don't see that a whole lot in fast-pitch softball, bunt with 2 strikes, but it's a ploy to catch him off guard.
Michelle Dema at second base for the Buckaroos. The pitch by Coleman is a call, strike 3 on Neiswinder. And another strikeout. Jerry Brummett now is going to, maybe we'll have another pinch hit change here. Yes, I believe coming into the ball game now will be Chris Dema. So another Dema getting a chance here. She will bat in the place of Lynn Heinrich.
Beautiful pitch by Coleman, Doug, low at the knees in the outside corner, and that'll do it.
So Chris Dema, the batter for the Buckaroos. As the runner at second is her sister, who is Michelle Dema. And a pitch on the way, and she tried to bunt the ball away, and he bunts it foul. There are 2 outs here in the top half of the 4th inning. The Fort Collins Buckaroos and the Boulder Valley Comets in the Midget Championship ball game, the regional tournament being held in Fort Collins. And the Buckaroos down 14-2. That pitch is called strike 2. So Chris Dema in a little bit of a dilemma here, if you will, with an 0-2 count. And the pitch is away in the dirt, and that will allow Michelle Dema to move on down to third. So 1 ball, 2 strikes on Chris Dema, 2 outs. If Chris could just get a hold of it and get it out of the infield, that would put another run up on the board for the Buckaroos, and they need each and every one, but you know how it is in this situation, Frank. You got to get them one at a time.
I think Coleman really wanted to put some mustard behind that one. Simply just got out of control.
Coleman then puts it again in the dirt. Nice stop by the catcher, Lai Christensen. She'll make the throw down the third. Here comes Dema home, and they put the tag on her, and she's out. And what a play by the shortstop who made the play for the Boulder Valley Comets, who came up to take charge. That was Krutzinger. Her throw to Christensen in time. And so they throw out Michelle Dema at the plate. Score at 6-2 in the third out of the inning. So now the score at the end of 3.5. It is the Boulder Valley Comets 14, the Fort Collins Buckaroos 2. And that will start this whole thing off again for the Boulder Valley Comets here in the bottom half of the fourth inning with Jenny Sutton, Heather Granger, and Lai Christensen. And I'm waiting for the Boulder Valley Comets possibly to make some changes now, but we'll have to wait and see. And I think we're getting one, possibly might be getting one now, but we'll keep an eye on it here. Okay, and we're just informed that that in the midgets in the championship game, that after 4 completing innings of play, if I understand it correctly, there is a 15-run rule, not a 10-run rule, but a 15 at the end of 5 innings of play. We'll correct that. There is a 15-run rule, not a 10-run rule.
Anything that can go wrong is going wrong for the Buckaroos. It's just up to them to try and pull it out, and I'm sure Jerry Brummett would like nothing better than to go 1-2-3 right here.
So Jenny Sutton, it appears, still will be the batter here. She's batting in the number 8 position so far this afternoon. She has grounded out to the second baseman and picked up a base hit in that wild third inning. And she scored 1 time this afternoon. And that pitch is outside ball 1. Jerry Brummett still on the mound for the Buckaroos. Sutton, Granger, and Christensen due up here in the bottom half of the fourth. Brummett with the pitch in the dirt. So Jerry Brummett just trying to get the ball in there. We've got a 2-ball count on Jenny Sutton.
And Sutton tried to bunt earlier this game, so we've got first and third baseman for the Buckaroos in fairly close.
You can see the wide view there on the screen. And there's a ball punched back up through the middle. It's a clean base hit. And going down the line, Jenny Sutton looked like she's limping a little bit, and that ankle, that left ankle, is definitely bothering her in this ball game.
And she could be one of the first we see if they do start to substitute. Certainly don't want anything worse to happen there.
And that'll bring up Heather Granger, the right fielder. And she has grounded out to the pitcher. And there goes Jenny Sutton. I'll tell you what, she is hurting pretty badly. She just kind of limps down. The ball got away from McGilligan. And down to second base went Jenny Sutton. But she went down in a limp, Frank.
Groninger, you can really see the way she holds the bat. She's been instructed for a long time. Like the way she holds that bat.
And she will hit it back up the middle. Lori Payon coming up with the ball. The throw to first. It is in time. And so they'll throw out Groninger from 6-3. Nice play over from Lori Payon to Lori Neiswinder. And that's the first out of the inning. But on that play, going down to third, and very wisely, is Jenny Sutton. So a runner at third, 1 down, and that brings up the top of the order. This is Lai Christensen. And she has reached on a fielder's choice this afternoon and has gotten a base hit. That goes right to Mara Sullivan. She'll take the easy out, but scoring is Jenny Sutton. So Christensen will get the RBI on the play from 4-3. So an RBI, but that is the second out of the inning. And with nobody on base, Jenny Peterson, the third baseman, the batter.
No other play for Sullivan but to go to first and give up the run.
And that's a called strike 1 on Jenny Peterson. And 15-2 the score, and that's, as we were talking, a 15-1 rule, and the Comets really have done a great job. Buckaroo's got to come back with a little scoring punch. Jenny Peterson this afternoon has had a good afternoon. She has walked, singled, and also she has grounded out. So she, this afternoon, 1 for 2. Pitch by Brummett. The ball is hit, just barely fouled on the left field line.
She got fooled a little bit by that one, Doug, and it was way out in front of it. If she would have waited just a second longer, I think she could have had quite a few bases on that one.
As we get the light drizzle again here, and on and off all afternoon. Really, for the ball players, this is nice. I'm sure it is. Because it's been kind of warm, and you get a little nice slow drizzle like this, makes it kind of a comfortable afternoon. And there's a hit, off Jerry Brummett on the foot. And what a play by Neiswinder. She picked it up. Let's see it. She did make the tag. So the ball came off Jerry Brummett, and hopefully she's not hurt, but very alertly, Lori Neiswinder came up with the play. So really, if you're scoring it, it is 1-3, and the play made by Lori Neiswinder, and it's the third out of the inning. So the Comets do pick up 1 run. There was 1 hit and 1 error. Nobody left on base. So now, after 4 complete innings of play, the score: the Boulder Valley Comets 15, the Fort Collins Buckaroos 2. And so the Buckaroos, again, have got to get something going offensively. It just really hasn't happened for them this afternoon. And remember that Chris Dema will be the batter, as she was at the plate when her sister Michelle Dema tried to score from third and was thrown out.
That's what you call getting an assist the hard way. That was a drill off of Brummett's foot. Now, I don't know if she's all right. I think she's going to be all right, but as far as continuing in the game, we're going to have to wait and see. She took that right off the left ankle.
So this is the top half of the 5th inning, so when we complete this inning, the 15-run rule will be in effect. And I'm not sure at this point in time if it's going to be a factor or not. Hopefully the Buckaroos can create some kind of their own rally here. A lot of changes in this ball game. Of course, Jill Varenwald went out early with an injury, and Lori Paon's been hit a couple times, and now Jerry Brummett's been hit, so this has not been a good afternoon for the Buckaroos. There's the pitch by Coleman. It's inside, ball 1 on the batter, who is Chris Dema. This is her first time at bat this afternoon.
And Coleman is really throwing some strikes here. It's going to be tough for the Buckaroos.
And that is high and away, so 2 balls, no strikes on the batter, Chris Dema. And that should mean that Trujillo is on deck, and Lori Paon will be in the dugout for the Buckaroos. And that is high and away. 3 balls, no strikes on Chris Dema. And that's one thing that the Comets, or rather the Buckaroos, have not done well this afternoon. They have not got their first batter on base. They have a chance to do it here. That is a called strike. 3 balls, 1 strike on Chris Dema. And the ball outside and away, ball 4. So Chris Demo will draw the base on balls. So the Buckaroos have a runner at first, nobody out here in the top half of the 5th. And for the first time up this afternoon, it will be Sonia Trujillo.
Debbie Coleman going down to tie her shoe, and that's going to give us a break here. I think the coaching staff for the Comets, even though Coleman's pitched a beautiful game, they're going to keep a close eye on her, because I'll tell you what, if she starts to get a little bit wild, they're not going to risk that big lead.
Sonia Trujillo, 12 years old. Her first time at bat this afternoon. And that pitch high and away, ball 1. Debbie Coleman having some real trouble here, Frank, trying to find that strike zone.
She is, again, that was a fast inning. The last time she came out and was pitching very well.
Coleman ready with the delivery. That's there. Strike 1, evens the count up at 1-1. Like I said, this drizzle that we're having this afternoon is nice for the ball players, but it sure is miserable for us. 2 balls, 1 strike on Sonia Trujillo. Lori Paon on deck, Misha Stevenson awaiting in the dugout. Pitches in there, call strike 2.
That one had some mustard on it.
At first base, Chris Dema, the runner for the Buckaroos. This pitch is fouled away, and it'll be out of play. No chance for Jenny Sutton. Leaves the count at 1 ball, 2 strikes on Sonia Trujillo.
A couple of more feet on that one. That would have hit the Buckaroo bench, and the sanctimonious white towel would have come out.
And there's a swing and a miss. Strike 3 to Sonia Trujillo, and another strikeout. Throw down to first, not in time, as they try to make a play on Chris Dema. So that is strikeout. Let's count them this afternoon for Debbie Coleman. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 strikeouts for Debbie Coleman, the batter. Lori Paon, she'll bat left-handed this time up. And she'll look at call strike 1.
She's playing a good game, is this Christensen, for the Comets behind home plate. She's really keeping those Buckaroo runners honest after the pitch.
Coleman ready. The swing and a miss. And strike 2 on Lori Paon.
And I think that foul ball went off Christensen's hand. She's shaking a little bit. Hopefully we won't get any more injuries like that.
For the afternoon's out, Frank, I'm sure we're going to have a fine crowd on hand, because we have the junior championship game coming up after this, and the senior championship game. So full slate of action here as a regional tournament here in Fort Collins. And that is a swing and a miss, and call strike 3 on Lori Paon. So another strikeout for Debbie Coleman, and that'll bring up Misha Stevenson. She has been on base by a walk and struck out this afternoon. First pitch by Coleman in the dirt and away, and Chris Dema on her way to second base.
Stevenson also played a very good game at third base, put a nice tag on that very close play at third, and a good throw from the outfield, and a close play like that isn't worth anything unless your third baseman is really on top of things.
And that ball gets away from the catcher Christensen, and down to third goes Chris Dema. So the Buckaroos, as we mentioned, when you're down 15-2, you really can't look at it in bunches, Frank. You got to look at it one at a time, and that's what they're trying to do. They continue with the wild pitch to move the runner up. Let's see if Mr. Stevenson can connect here and pick up a run here and pick up Chris Dema. We've got 2 balls, 1 strike. The count on Mr. Stevenson, third baseman for the Buckaroos. Rain continues to fall here at City Park South, and that's a called strike on the corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Mr. Stevenson. McGilligan is on deck. Jerry Brummett awaiting in the dugout for the Buckaroos. And that pitch high and away. Here comes Chris Dema. She's going to try to score. She slides in. She's safe. So on the wild pitch, Chris Dema scores. And the score now 15-3.
Could be the catalyst to get something going here. What a beautiful slide into home plate.
So Mr. Stevenson now looking at a full count.
And the rain is coming down harder now.
And that pitch is low and away, and down to first base goes Mr. Stevenson as she goes down hustling. So the runner at first, and Tara, just heard her, probably her mother back there. Tara McGilligan is the batter. So
Way
we'll
to make
get that
friends,
right.
Doug.
Yes,
And,
that's right.
You know, Doug, when you talk about rain like this, steady rain, and you talk about it being good for the fielders, it is. It's getting a little bit heavy now, but for the catcher, it can really be a problem. I think that's one of the reasons why Christensen's having some problems.
And the rain continues, as you mentioned, Frank, to come down harder. As the batter is McGilligan. She has reached first by a single and struck out this afternoon. 1 for 2. And that pitch is outside and going down to second. There goes Stevenson, thrown out in time. So the stolen base for Mr. Stevenson. So now the runner's at second. Let's see if McGilligan can pick her up.
Okay, you hold it now. That's okay.
There goes the hit. It's off the glove of Coleman, and it's going to go out into the outfield, and the runner at second base, Stevenson, will hold, but it's a base hit for McGilligan. And let's see if now the Buckaroos can get something started.
That's basically what Jerry Brummett just said, that let's get something started here. And they certainly do have something going. And here comes Jerry Brummett.
Jerry Brummett, the pitcher, she's had a rough afternoon. It hasn't been a good afternoon at all for the entire Buckaroo team. Pitch by Coleman, inside ball 1, and the bluff made by Misha Stevenson as she bluffed going to third. Runners at first and second for the Buckaroos. Brummett squares to bunt. Let's see if she'll fake it and try to swing away. She does. It's outside.
And you know, the Buckaroos didn't get this far to come and play and roll over dead. And they're trying to get something going here. There's still some time left in this ball game, and anything can happen.
And that ball is low and away, and the runners will move up. Well, one runner will move, as at first, McGilligan didn't decide to go down to second, but going down to third was Misha Stevenson. So now runners at first and third, and it's a 3-0 count on Jerry Brummett, and she'll square now because with the 3-0 count, she's looking for a walk here, and that's right in their strike. 3 balls, 1 strike.
And she's going to have to put it right up the middle, Doug, to score that runner from third, because third baseman for the Comets really in on the line, Peterson.
Squared a bunt by Jerry Brummett. Here comes the pitch, and it's high, ball 4, and now the bases are full of Buckaroos. The bases are full of Buckaroos. Jerry Brummett comes out on the on-deck circle. All he's doing is moving the bat, and we got to check the batter here because I'm not sure on my list. I believe it's Michelle Dema. And Frank, if you can maybe pick up a number for me, we can verify that. But bases are full of Buckaroos. And again, they're looking for the walk as Debbie Coleman's having some trouble finding the strike zone. And now it's 2 balls, no strikes. So 2 balls, no strikes to Michelle Dema. That ball is high, and now Debbie Coleman in danger And now that was ball 4, so she already in danger of walking in a run and has done so as Misha Stevenson will score.
And suddenly it's 14-5, or make that 15-4. And I was just going to say, I think this might warrant a trip from the Comet bench to talk to Debbie Coleman. This might be all for her.
Well, she really has pitched a great game. I can't believe that they would make a...
well, she is going to stay in there, Doug. You're right.
That they would make a change right now.
But I think they told her that this may not hang around too much.
Well, as we keep putting the umbrella down and up, again, Frank, I guess we should leave it up because it's just not going to quit on us this afternoon.
Michelle Dema took 4 straight balls to reach first base, and I'll tell you what, if they don't even have to hit the ball to maybe catch up here with the score 15-4 in the 5th.
And we might have, no, it looks like Debbie Coleman indeed. You know, we just put this weather is very strange this afternoon, Frank. It stopped raining, basically. And it appeared that maybe it was going to clear up, and as soon as we put the umbrella down, the rain comes back.
And there's some sun on the field, though, so.
Mara Sullivan, the batter, and the ball in the dirt, ball 1. So that's 5 straight balls, and now they've got the runner picked off coming from third, but the throw is away, and coming in to score is Tara McGilligan. So the Buckaroos now, as they try to score Jerry Brummett, and with that, they throw her out, though. And Jerry Brummett thrown out trying to score from third, so mark that really as a score from the catcher. And it appears to the pitcher, and that's going to be the ball game, 15-5, and they're lining up to shake hands. So that indeed, this was the inning that the Buckaroos needed to pick up some runs. That's why they were running, Frank, because maybe we got some misinformation here because it looks like the 10-run rule is in effect.
Brummett really did. I think the reason she wanted to score was to cut it to 9 runs, but she did get cut down.
So the Boulder Valley Comets come away with a big win in the 12 and under midgets regional championship here. So that means the Boulder Valley Comets will advance to state. Final score, the Boulder Valley Comets 15, the Fort Collins Buckaroos 5. Tough ball game. And Debbie Coleman goes all the way for the Boulder Valley Comets. So a great game. But we've got more Buckaroo action this afternoon. And I shouldn't say Buckaroo. We got more championship action going on this afternoon as they will have some kind of presentation. We'll have all that right after we take this timeout.
Let's go. I'm driving.
Okay, back to City Park South, the site of the regional championship games. And, of course, with our game just concluded, the Boulder Valley Comets 15 and the Fort Collins Buckaroos 5 in the midgets. These are girls 12 and under. They're having the trophy presentations right now, and the Colorado Expos from Lakewood. They are the 3rd place team in this regional tournament, so they are accepting their trophy right now. And of course, again, we'll tell you that this tournament, we're picking up all the late action here, but this tournament started on Friday, so it's been a big 3-day event. And there, of course, goes the presentation to the number 2 team in the regional tournament, the Fort Collins Buckaroos, and a tough defeat this afternoon, 15-5. And of course, the number 1 team and going to state in the state championships will be from Boulder, the Boulder Valley Comets. And of course, their head coach is Ed Wolf, and the head coach for the Fort Collins Buckaroos is Jerry Brummett. He is on the PA system right now, and it's a little tough to pick that up. But those are the 3 teams who fared very well in this regional tournament that was held by and in Fort Collins. And of course, each year it's held in a different city, and Fort Collins being lucky enough to have this championship this year. But the Boulder Valley Comets will win it in the 12 and under in the midget division, and they will move on. Not sure where the state championships will be held, but you can hear the nice round of applause by a pretty good crowd this afternoon for the Boulder Valley Comets as they will move now to accept their trophy. So these, again, are the midgets. These girls are 12 and under. And this is a combination, of course, for the Boulder Valley Comets. They'll continue on, but this is a combination for these girls of over 50 games played this summer. So it's been a long, long summer for these girls, and they certainly have an opportunity to play a lot of baseball. And, of course, a good game this afternoon, and the Fort Collins Buckaroos, who are right here in front of us, just a tough loss this afternoon. They got down early and just weren't able to battle back. They took the lead early in the ball game, 1-0 in the first inning. They were able to score on a wild pitch. And then from that point on, the Boulder Valley Comets were able to get a hold of it and really just kind of take charge and ended up winning the ball game, a 5-inning contest by a score of 15-5. We do indeed have more softball action for you here on Channel 14, and we'll have the junior championship and the senior championship. But also we've got some really kind of pointers, some pinch hits as we call, for softball. So let's take a timeout for the pinch hits. We'll talk a little bit about developing your pattern in pitching. We'll do that and come back right after this.
Channel 14, Columbine Cablevision, Fort Collins.
Good evening, Steve Luzak back with another softball tip on Columbine Cable Channel 14. Today we have Ruth Nelson from HealthWorks who will talk about stretching and what to do to prepare for the game.
Before stretching for softball, a brisk walk or slow jog can help loosen you up. When stretching for the game, you want to stretch out the specific muscles that you'll be using. These can be in two categories, upper body and lower body. For stretching the upper body, stretches such as bringing your elbow across your neck, pulling the elbow back behind your head, and doing arm circles help loosen the shoulders and arms up. And shoulder circles help loosen the shoulders and neck up. For the lower body, you can stretch out your quadriceps by grabbing one foot behind you with your opposite hand and pulling on the leg. Calves can be stretched out by leaning against a pole or a fence and pressing your heels down onto the grass. The hamstrings can be stretched out sitting on the ground with one foot in and the other foot out and just reaching toward the foot. Remember to do your stretches in a static position rather than bouncing toward the foot. All your stretches should be 15 to 20 seconds long. It's important to do your stretches safe and slow and have a good game.
Channel 14, Columbine Cablevision, Fort Collins.